So here we are again.
Here we are again.
Different setting. We're outside in our backyard.
Yes.
Nature, trees.
Earl the
birds.
squirrel.
Earl the squirrel. Maybe he'll make an appearance. So we're coming into June,
Yeah,
and you have some messages for us.
I sure do. I would say about 3 messages, and I really took time. I took a few days to make sure that I would be sharing messages that are completely on the nose as it relates to what people will go through this month. I've learned, being an intuitive, not to be impulsive with my messages, but really just see, is this really going to stick? And these messages are definitely going to stick. So
Okay.
let's begin. So the first message I have for the month of June is being kind to yourself. And I know that that sounds trite, but when I talk about being kind to yourself, I'm talking about opening up a new pathway for your life. Because when we're very hard on ourselves, we're all really good at doing that, beating ourselves up. We don't realize this, but on a subconscious level, or even unconscious level, we're blocking what we ultimately want to manifest for ourselves because we're feeding into our own resistance. If I'm being critical of myself, if I'm complaining about my life, I'm actually energizing my own resistance, and I'm also feeding into my traumas. So what is that going to do? It's going to keep me right where I am because I'm not showing that I'm ready to unlock a new level in my game, a new level in my life. So think of being kind to yourself as a key that unlocks a new door for your future. And if you think about being kind to yourself, it's the act of creating a little bit of space between you and what's happening, as opposed to getting wrapped up just like a vine or a weed around the thing that's just happened.
Yeah.
So maybe someone has said something that rubbed you the wrong way, or maybe someone is treating you unkindly. You get reactive, but in getting reactive, you're not being kind to yourself. So just take a pause, create a little bit of space between you and what just transpired, and then you'll have more choice available. It's all about choice. If you want to better your life, you have to be willing to make a new choice. If you make the old choice, you stay in your old life. Nothing changes. If you make a new choice, then you're promoting a positive change in your life.
So why would you say people choose not to choose to be kind to themselves or to make a different choice?
It happens to me all the time too. As a Virgo, we can be very hard on ourselves. I think the reason is sometimes you just feel like you want the universe to throw you a bone. You want to feel more love, more support. And I think a lot of people right now are at the end of the rope. They don't have the emotional bandwidth for much. And so when something happens on top of that, it's like a pile-on. And you just want to scream. So I understand people very well because I go through that too. But it doesn't change the fact that unless I make the change and I make a new choice, nothing is going to change.
Right.
Because I'm telling the universe I can't handle more than what's in front of me. As a matter of fact, I can't even handle what's in front of me.
Right.
So it's all about your emotions. You can't properly physically manifest something unless you're emotionally ready for it. So you first have to manifest it emotionally. And what does that look like? Manifesting a new version of yourself that makes the better choice, the wiser choice, to be kind to yourself.
Right.
So you have someone driving behind you, tailing your car, honking the horn, not being very kind. Take a moment. Don't just react, because in that reactivity, there's no awareness. You're just closing in on yourself. You're wrapping yourself around what's going on like a vine, and you're completely unaware. It's that awareness that we need that allows that distance, that space to happen between you and what's happening.
and not taking, well, for that situation, not taking it personally.
Yeah.
If somebody's like cutting me off or like, you know, honking, it's like, well, they clearly need to get somewhere faster than I do. So by all means, if you need to go and, you know, get ahead of me or whatever, just like go right ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. And you think about what you just said, you're creating space for that person. You're also creating space for yourself. So it's all about space.
Yeah.
The more you free up that space, the more you're announcing to the universe that you're ready for a change. But if you're always tight and rigid and tensed up, then you're not letting anything in. You're blocking all of your blessings. So in order to receive blessings, in order to receive new opportunities, new relationships, new friendships, whatever it may be, you have to create space. You have to tell yourself, what I've been doing isn't serving me. It's only going to keep me stuck in my old life. It's amazing how we don't even realize how frequently we feed into traumas from our past. And then we're always in that same old story. It's like a rinse and repeat cycle.
We've identified with it. That has become our identity. It's so hard to disidentify with that version of ourselves. So we get caught up in the story and that this is who I am and this is what I'm going to accomplish. And that's not true. It doesn't have to be true.
I love that. That is so brilliant. So in other words, disidentifying from the version of yourself that you've now outgrown
Right.
because it doesn't make you feel good. There was a time where it might have served you, where you aired your dirty laundry and you got mad and you threw your temper tantrums. There was a time where that was helping you. But if you've reached a place where it's just hurting you, let it go.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit, baby? It reminds me of when I'm feeling doubtful of myself and I start to vent to you versus when I decide to go on a walk instead and I come back and I say, baby, I'm so proud of myself. I was going to start venting and I instead went on that walk. I created some space and now I feel so much more like myself again.
Yeah.
Like what I thought was true isn't true anymore. And I'm just getting a message now around that. It's like, what are you really believing to be true?
Right.
Like, are you really believing what that person is saying about you? Are you really believing that you're not lovable if the person's not committing to you? Are you really believing that to be the truth? If you do, then you're going to get reactive. If you don't, then you're going to be able to go, okay, that person just isn't capable of loving me.
Right.
Or my boss isn't capable of treating me kindly. So I'm going to just stay low key, mind my own business. And through that, I'll be able to give my energy, send my energy to the life that I want.
Right. And be kind
Yeah.
to myself.
Yeah. The universe meets you where you meet yourself. If I'm not kind to myself, I won't be able to receive love from others. I'm always going to block it out. So your trauma is directly linked to your resistance. Stop feeding into your trauma. Stop feeding into the old story. Stop feeding into your resistance if you want your life to unblock for you. It will never unblock for you if you're caught up in that old story and you're unwilling to change. So it's all hinging on you and what you do with your choice. So make old choices, stay stuck, make new choices, forge a new pathway.
Great.
Yeah.
So you have another message for June.
Yes. So the second message for June is as you're undergoing this transformation, because I feel like a lot of us right now are going through very intense emotional changes, and it can cause us to feel confused, doubtful of ourselves. It's like we've stopped believing in our own dreams. We've stopped believing that we're capable of achieving great things. So when you're going through a transformation like you are right now, and you know that you don't want to go backward, you know that you want to create a new life, you know that you're becoming a new version of yourself, you're going to find that a lot of your friends are judging you mentally, right? So let's just say you haven't seen a friend for a while and you bump into them. You're going to feel like they're projecting onto you that you've become boring, that you're no longer the life of the party. That happens to me all the time, baby. You see it.
Yeah.
You see it. Like I'll bump into people and they'll say things like, you're so quiet, or you used to be so fun, or look at the way Phil used to look. Like that happened recently.
Yeah.
We went to a gathering. Oh my God, y'all. We went to a gathering and this friend that I haven't seen in like 5 years, thinking that we can rekindle our friendship, pulled out the phone and started scrolling through old photos of me when I was ripped and I used to go to the gym. And I'm like, hello, I'm right here. You know, they weren't being present with me. They were holding on to the old version of me. Isn't that interesting?
That is.
And I wasn't. I'm good. I love who I am. I'm very comfortable in my skin now. But what you're going to find as you go through these transformations is people are going to project a lot of negativity onto you. They're going to have thoughts about you that are not very kind. The importance is that you don't engage with that. Because a lot of times we're so sensitive that we can feel what people are thinking about us. And then we feel the need to justify, hey, you know, I'm just going through some stuff right now. I'm still me. Don't do that. You have nothing left to prove. Love yourself enough to keep going where you're going, to keep becoming who you're becoming. Because remember, what is that saying? Where your attention goes, your energy flows.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
If you don't conserve your energy and you save it for where you're going, and you try to justify to your friends why you're acting this way, you just wasted your energy. In a way, you're still holding on to your old self because you're still holding on to how that person is perceiving you.
Right.
Oof.
Yes. And they are trying to hold on to that other version of you, that older version of you.
Yeah.
As you continue to grow, it is a reminder to them if they're not. So
Ooh.
they're remaining stagnant while you're growing and evolving. And they're like, no, abort mission.
Yeah, it's so true. And if they're holding on to the old version of you and then you say something, you've just in a way fallen for the trap. Because now they're like, yeah, I knew something was up with you. I knew you were acting different. And then you're going to go home going, oh, why did I do that to myself?
Just to clarify, are you saying not to say something to a friend who is having a difficult time with your transformation?
That's a really good question, baby. I would say if it's someone who has proven time and again that they're incapable of having deep conversations, emotional conversations, where we can get on the same page, then no. You can't do the heavy lifting the rest of your life. So if you can sense their judgment, they're projecting a lot of negativity on you, it's up to them to say, hey, I'm really sorry. I've been projecting stuff onto you, rather than finding out where you're at. Like if I'm interested and invested in a friendship, I'm going to ask them, hey, is everything okay? Like, I just want to know that we're good. I want to know that I'm here to support you and that I've got your back forever. But if there's anything I've done, let me know.
Yeah.
And then at that point, the person will say, no, you haven't done anything. I'm just going through a lot of changes right now. And I'm just trying to be present with that.
Right.
And it's like, I totally understand that. Because so often we get enmeshed with people by holding on. It's like we're trying to leave those relationships, but we're actually doing the opposite by constantly explaining where we're at. Sometimes you just have to say nothing and let the change happen.
Yeah.
We're living in a time right now where if you have a vision of who you're becoming, just go for it. Don't stop yourself and explain it to everyone.
As you were saying that, I think of having attachments.
That's right. And it's scary to let go of those attachments. It's scary to let go of what those friendships used to look like because you don't know if you're going to be liked by people. You don't know where you're going. But I've found from my experience that people are very quick to turn you into the villain when all you're doing is becoming a better person. You're just becoming a better person. And because, like you said earlier, they're stagnant, then your transformation poses a threat to them. Because you have to keep in mind that we're all connected subconsciously. So if I'm changing, it's going to affect you on some level. The question is, how are you going to respond to how I'm changing?
Right.
Are you going to project judgment onto me? Or are you going to want to investigate and find out how you can better connect to me now?
Right.
So don't feel the need, don't feel the need to explain why you're changing or how you're changing. Just keep changing. And if someone cares about you a lot, they will ask you. Sidebar.
Yep. So did you have a third message for June?
I did have a final message for June, which is there has never been a better time to let go, especially if you've outgrown a situation, a job, a relationship, a friendship. There's never been a better time to let go of your old life so that you can move into your new life. But this takes a lot of courage, because even if you make a change, even if you quit your job or you leave your relationship, in a month from now, you might regret your decision. I call it an echo from the past. You might go, oh, did I do the right thing? You absolutely did the right thing. It just takes a while for things to change. So don't be afraid to step into your new life. I think so often we hang on, but if you hang on to what you're doing now, nothing's going to change. It's all predictable, it's familiar. So you have to ask yourself, you have to kind of weigh out the pros and cons. If I stay at this job, what does it look like? I call it traveling through the tunnel into your future. It's amazing how intuitive we are. Just by imagining what it's going to look like, you can feel into whether or not that's true for you. So you can either stay where you are and keep doing the same old thing, or you can go, I can go this way, and it might be really scary, but I definitely want to change.
As you were saying that, I was thinking like regrets. If I make this decision or if I leave this job, leave this relationship, I might regret it.
Yeah.
There is that saying, better to regret the things you did than the things you didn't do. How long are you going to be in that job? And maybe other opportunities aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
So now there's a regret. So there's going to be regret possibly anyway.
Yeah.
What are you going to be okay with?
It's making me think about what we went through this past month, because I've been doing my selfie videos for a long time, which I love doing them. I'm not going to stop them. But I just felt like if I want to get to a certain level in my career, I need to expand. I need to step my game up. But that meant having you become a business partner. And that was scary for me because I've been doing it on my own for a very long time. And I know what I can expect financially, and I know what kind of results I can produce. But this means that I'm moving into uncharted territory. What is this going to mean for me? And then I had to ask myself, what do I value more? Holding on to money, for instance, and to everything that I'm making, or sharing that and moving to a higher level in my career? And as scary as it was, I decided to choose you, to choose our partnership, because you're amazing, because you helped me in so many ways. And I had a few flare-ups. You know that I did. I wanted to backpedal. Like, I don't know. What if no one comes to my events? What if the podcast doesn't take off? Well, you know what? At least I tried.
Yeah.
And I find that there's a lot of beauty in being vulnerable and courageous enough to go for what you want. I really feel like the universe always rewards people who are willing to go after their dreams.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to sit at home and to fantasize. But are you putting your money where your mouth is? Are you taking actionable steps in the direction of what you want?
You can't grow if there is no change. Growth happens in the change.
Yeah. And sometimes it's difficult to distinguish between, is it time yet, or is it time? Like, it's hard to tell. But I think you'll know if you've outgrown it, because your body's going to scream at you. Every fiber in your being is no longer going to agree with the life that you're living. Right. You can sense it. So some people might ask, well, I don't know, is it time for me to quit my job? Is it time for me to move to another city or another country? You'll know if you've been doing it such a long time and you're not learning anything anymore. But typically you should stay in a job or a situation if you're still learning.
Yeah.
There's a timing to life.
If you have to ask, is it time? Then it's not.
That's right. Oh, I love that. That's perfect. Yeah. If you're still doubting if it's time, then don't do it.
Right.
Because again, there's a timing and there are always lessons involved in what we're in.
Yeah.
I believe that to be true.
Yeah.
just for my own life. Like sometimes we want things now, but it's not time yet. And you have to respect the process.
Right.
You also have to trust the process. But I think respecting the process is really important.
Yeah. Respecting your intuition so that you're letting your intuition, your feelings, your emotions guide you
Yeah.
and not your ego, not your thoughts.
Yes.
Because your soul is ahead of the game.
Right.
Your soul knows first, and it's your mind that needs to catch up.
Yes. So if you think that you'd be too overwhelmed right now, don't do it. That's your heart telling you, hey, there's still something that you're learning here. But I think that if you're fed up and you're ready for a change and you know that you want to manifest that someday, go for it. I think I have one final message which dovetails with the last one is start embracing the unknown. Start becoming friends with the unknown. When you think about the unknown, do you think of darkness or light?
Darkness.
Okay, why?
Because you can't see.
Because you can't see. So you're basically blind,
Yeah.
and all you have to rely on is your heart. If I'm in a dark room, I'm in the unknown. But then I have to be super present with what's happening in my body to be able to find my way. Yeah?
Yeah.
Whereas if you think about the light is even if you have a thought about something, you're still able to see that thought. If you imagine something, you're still seeing it. So I want people to get comfortable in the unknown because that's where you're the most vulnerable, which means that you're the most open, the most curious, the most receptive. So try to embrace being in the unknown because that's what's going to get you there.
Yeah.
I'm in the unknown right now. I don't know what's going to happen with our partnership, with my live events, but I haven't been here in a long time. And I have to say, it's quite refreshing.
The unknown, there's nothing familiar.
Yeah.
There's no stagnancy.
Yep.
There's no contentment.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're living. You're alive
Yeah.
in the unknown.
Yeah. And you don't know what's going to happen. There's a saying I wrote a few years ago, which is things don't happen when you want them to. They happen when you stop needing them to.
Yeah.
And when we want and we want and we want, you have this idea that it should be happening now. We're still trying to control it. It's when you stop needing it to happen that you're in the unknown, that you're no longer trying to control it. It's kind of like you're walking and the path is unfolding as you're walking. That's the idea. So try to make friends with the unknown because it's going to take you far.
I'm actually really excited about what's coming next for us in the unknown.
Yeah. And I want people to remember that it's in the unknown that most of your fears are going to surface. It's in the predictable and in the familiar that you don't even know if you have fears.
Right.
You're just autopilot. I go to my 9 to 5 and I do it again and I do it again and I do it again. But if you're not satisfied, if you're miserable, it means there's a fear within you that you need to address. And in a way, that job or that relationship, whatever, is covering it up. It's like there's a lid on the fear, so you can't even see it. It's when you take that leap of faith, when you jump off the cliff, that you start to go, wow, I didn't know I had this fear. I didn't know I had that fear. It's kind of like people who are single and they're like, I don't need a man. I don't need anybody. I'm healed.
Right.
And then you put them in a relationship and they're like, uh-oh, I didn't know I still had all this trauma. It's because that trauma was lying dormant in you. Those fears were inactive. If you take care of everything for me and I have nothing left to worry about, doesn't mean I don't have fears. Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's in the unknown that you're really going to find out what kind of fears you have. And when those fears start to come up in you, you're going to want to go backwards. You're going to want to hold on to what you know. Don't do it. Keep going. Have faith, have trust. It's not easy. It's not easy for us.
Yeah.
It's not easy for me. But I know that I want more. And I know that I have to take steps to get there. So am I going to keep holding myself back? Or am I going to jump off that cliff and trust that I have wings?
First card in the tarot,
Yeah.
we have the Fool. The figure is on a cliff,
Yeah.
about to take a huge risk,
Yeah.
and they don't know where they're going.
They're about to embark on a crazy adventure.
Crazy new journey.
And that's why people are so happy when they're traveling, because they're stepping out of the known, out of the predictable. and they can feel themselves again. They feel alive and they don't want to go back home. That's because you're unblocking yourself. You're saying, let me just go on this fun adventure and see what happens.
Yeah. I think it's important that as we talk about this crazy adventure or this journey and embarking on this unknown path, that we go back to your first message.
Yeah.
Which is to be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, because if you feel like leaving your job would be unkind, don't do it. You know, but if you feel excited at the prospect of what might unfold for you, do it. Well, I love that you said that, because it is a time to be kind to ourselves. This world is getting harder, and I think we need to give each other grace. We need to also not put people in a box, because I know for me, like, I've messed up a lot in the past, and I've tried to reconcile with people, but it's like they've decided that I'm in that box. And so I think even in that regard, let's try to be kinder to ourselves and give people a chance to evolve, because some people really do learn and really do change. And rather than fighting that or resisting them changing, give them grace. Like, maybe you might learn something new. You might even connect more deeply than you ever have. So I really enjoyed our chat.
Yeah. Outside, enjoying nature,
Yeah.
and there are the birds.
And thank you to all of you for being with us. We love you so much.